to today's presentation. Manufacturing is complex. When we work with our manufacturing clients, there's usually one culprit that's stopping or hindering their growth. Any guesses on what that is? Today we're going to show you that it's whether or not MRP has been implemented into their system. And today we're going to show you how MRP can make you be the best manufacturer possible. Let's begin with a little housekeeping. Today's session will be recorded. You'll be receiving access to this presentation via email about 48 hours after the presentation. So if you have anything you want to review or anything you need to share with anybody at your organization, you can do so. If you want to ask questions in the chat, go ahead. I will do my best at the end to answer them. We might not be able to get to them today, but we definitely can reach out to you and make those one-on-one connections and get those questions you have answered. Lastly, I just want to share that I'm recovering from COVID. Luckily, this is a virtual call, so you don't have to worry about me spreading it to you. But if I have to cough or mute every once in a while, I do apologize. I'm trying my best to not have to do that. So my name is Brian Rowding. About 7 years ago, I was sitting in your exact seat. I was working for an organization that was evaluating a new system to help manage their finance and their operations. And at that time, we went through several different possible solutions, and we ended up finding one that checked off all the boxes, and that was Acumatica. And so that's what we're going to be showing you today. And in that journey, I've gone from customer to consultant, and I'm now helping companies like you implement ERP systems, support them, MRP, all that good stuff. So that's who I am. I want to go over what we're going to be doing today, what our agenda is. We're going to be showing you 3 ways that MRP can benefit your business. Then we're going to give you a demonstration of Acumatica and how it is going to be the tool that's going to help you reap those benefits. Lastly, we're going to give you a personal guide. We want to give you a guide. We understand that going through the process of selecting a system is a big undertaking, so we're going to provide a PDF that's going to allow you to evaluate how to make that decision. We don't just want to show you why you need MRP and how it works, but we want to help you with the process of making that selection and making sure you're choosing the right partner and the right solution for your business. Now let's dive into the issues you're all facing in manufacturing. So let's start with supply chain. There's a lot of instability in supply chain today. We've entered into a chaotic time. We're dealing with an enduring pandemic that's been going since 2020 that has affected supply chain. We're dealing with inflation that's causing people to have to reevaluate how they're getting their goods. And lastly, we've seen the effect of war and tariffs. So, all these things have created a very problematic environment, especially when it comes to procuring raw materials. In 2022, a survey was done of operation, IT, and C-suite executives, and they were asked to list out in priority what their biggest risks were as manufacturers. Any guesses on what those were? I bet you're going to be able to relate to some of these. The number one problem they saw was securing raw materials. We've all seen when vendors don't meet supply chain promise dates, the effect it has on our operations, and securing raw materials is a huge issue today. We've also seen operational issues with our suppliers. We've all had orders come to us that were incomplete, incorrect, and had to deal with that. Another big issue they rated was supplier financial health. As suppliers have dealt with their own problems via either inflation or just employment with the pandemic, suppliers' financial health is huge. And that led to number 4, which is lack of supplier diversification for critical materials. It's a very difficult time for manufacturers to navigate their supply chain. And to help navigate this chaos, you need a tool that is agile and flexible. And not only can help you adapt to the changing times, but will also adapt with you as times change ahead. And that tool we're going to show you today is Acumatica. It has the capability to grow and change with your business as you do as well. Another thing that's going on currently in manufacturing is the volatility of customer demands. We've seen how just the pandemic itself changed what customers needed. And, for example, canned goods shot through the roof, toilet papers, things like that. As customer demand changes, you need a tool that will help you quickly pivot your supply levels. And we're going to show you today how MRP can help with that. Not only are customer demands changing, but because of the aforementioned supply chain issues, it's difficult to meet those demands. Pressure is being pushed throughout the entire supply chain. It's critical that you have a tool that's flexible, that can give you visibility and durability to fulfill your customers' demands. At the end of the day, what we're in business for is to serve our customers, meet their needs, and hopefully make some profit out of that. And the top priority of manufacturers has always been to increase efficiency and reduce costs. But we're seeing in the current climate that agility and flexibility are also critical. You can really see how difficult it is on manufacturers right now. And now we're going to go into the tool that will make your life a whole lot easier. So let's talk about MRP. What is it and why should you use it? MRP stands for Material Requirements Planning. MRP is an inventory management and control system for ordering and tracking the items needed to make a product. The primary objective of MRP is to make sure the materials and components are available when needed in the production process and that the manufacturing takes place on schedule. If you look at MRP, ultimately what it's trying to do is trying to balance demand and supply. You want to make sure that as customers are demanding products that you have just the right amount in your system to give you the flexibility you need. MRP is going to look at all the demand that comes into the system. In Acumatica, MRP is going to look at customer sales orders. So the actual orders that your customers are placing is the first source of demand it's going to look for. It's also going to look for your forecast that you generate, your predictions on what you're going to sell. And lastly, it's also going to look at your master production schedule. It's going to take a look at what your proposed build schedule is. It's going to take all those things into account, and then it's going to go out and it's going to ask, okay, how am I going to meet those supply dates? And some of the items it's going to use to do that are going to be the quantity you already have on hand of those items in your MRP locations. Purchase orders in their promise state. So when exactly is this going to come into the system? When can I expect this order that I've placed to arrive? And also your master production schedule. When does your master production schedule say that things are going to be completed? So it's taking that all and it's trying to bring that into balance. Again, the goal is to optimize your inventory levels so you can meet demand without overstocking your warehouses and help you plan so you don't have to expedite purchase orders, which can be costly. So ultimately, we're trying to arrive at that sweet spot of getting stuff when we need it, not too early and not too late. MRP is like your personal planner. It's nudging you on what you need to take action on. So now that you know what MRP is, let me show you the meat and potatoes of how it's going to make you the best manufacturer possible. I want you to think about the last 3 years as a manufacturer. What has that been like? What challenges have you had? Remember the supply chain disruptions, supplier delays, increasing customer demands. Now imagine if you had technology in place for the unexpected. Here are the benefits that you're going to get out of using Acumatica MRP in your business. First, you're going to receive direct visibility. What if you had that visibility in your system? What if you could see your customer demand and when you needed to supply things and if you could achieve those goals? What if you had that direct visibility that was helping you avoid those overstocks and understocks? How much better could you have met your customer demand? How much better could you have managed your inventory? Second, it's going to help you react to marketplace changes. What if you had the tools in place on the fly to respond to changes in the marketplace? What if you had better managed your inventory levels? Can you imagine how you could have adjusted to changes in the marketplace if your inventory is managed better? Lastly, it's going to help you respond to customer demand. What if you could answer customer demands with confidence? What if you could see when customers needed things and have that visual tool that would show you, here's what it's going to take to get there, and can I do it? Imagine how much happier your customers would be, how much less stress would be on your employees if they had that visibility and they weren't scrambling. So you're here today because you want to become the best manufacturer, right? That's what we've invited you in to do. So let's go on and let me show you the tool that's going to help you achieve that. So let's talk about Acumatica. So Acumatica is a browser-based ERP system that was built from the ground up for the web. One of the huge benefits of this, when I was trying to make a decision on which ERP solution I was going to choose, was that as we expanded our business and we had to open new locations, we didn't have to deal with VPNs, client server architecture, all that stuff. If we needed to get access to things, we could get access to it anywhere. And having that browser-based system where you can get in anywhere and log in and get your data is super critical. I remember somebody warned me, oh, you don't want to do ERP in the cloud. It's going to be super slow. I've been working with Acumatica for about 8 years now, and I can say that it's snappy and responsive. And part of that is because it was designed for the web. Also, Acumatica is a role-based system, and meaning that the functions people need to do their job are broken out individually in the system. So you can see clearly if I'm in an AP clerk role, a shipping clerk role, a finance role, maybe I'm in a sales role, all those things are broken out into workspaces, and we'll show that later in the demonstration, but it really makes it easy to both navigate the system and also secure the system so that the people only have access to what they need. Again, Acumatica believes that your data is your own, you own it, and they make it available to you anywhere. So anywhere you have an internet connection, whether it's on a tablet, a phone, a PC, whatever, a Mac, as long as you have an internet connection, you can get to your data. You can get to your reports, you can do transactions. It gives you that flexibility. And when we talk a little bit about, the changes in our environment, we've seen, more people are working from home, and having that ability to access your data anywhere is a great benefit and differentiator of Acumatica. Another great thing about Acumatica is it's easily configurable. So there's a lot of places in the system where you can make those configurations you need that are specific to your business. And in doing so, you don't have to deal with high-level customizations, developers. You can go in yourself and configure it, which is a great benefit. And also, if you do need to customize it, Acumatica has a low-cost architecture that makes it easy to make those customizations. And also, if you end up in a situation where someone's developed a customization for your product and someone else has to go in and deal with it, maybe the person's no longer working in that industry, Acumatica has built a really smart architecture so where people can come in and see, it's kind of streamlined, they can come in and make those adjustments for you. So you're not stuck with something that a developer did that another developer has to come in and try to unpack. The architecture is very streamlined. Lastly, Acumatica allows for multi-company and multi-branch. So if you're an organization that has multiple companies that you need to manage inside of your ERP and financial system, or that you have multiple branches that you need to separate out, Acumatica has that capability built in. We have many clients that are in both of those scenarios. We're going to be getting to the demonstration now, and I just want to point out that everything you're going to be seeing in today's demonstration is using out-of-the-box functionality. There's no customizations or third parties required. So let's get to the demo. So I am going to switch over to Acumatica. As you'll see here, I mentioned that Acumatica is a cloud-based ERP system, so you can see that I'm going to log in through Chrome to Acumatica. As I log in, the first thing you're going to notice, we've got a dashboard here. We're not going to get into that a lot today, but Acumatica has great reporting throughout the system, so you can see what's going on with your customers. Over to the left here, you're going to see what are called workspaces, and we talked about this a little bit being role-based. So you've got a space for your accounts receivable, where all the things your accounts receivable needs to transact and report are in there. You've got payables, banking, inventory, purchasing. All this stuff is easily laid out for you to be able to manage inside of these workspaces. Today we're going to be obviously focusing on MRP, so let's go ahead and start there. What you're going to be seeing today, first is the MRP display. The MRP display, like I said, is kind of your personal planner. It's telling you what I need to do. Then we're going to get into the MRP Exceptions. That's going to show you things that you need to take action on that maybe you already planned, but things have changed. We're going to take a look at the MRP Preferences screen and talk about some of the flexibility it gives you. And then we're going to dig in a little bit to some of the reporting as well, and the regeneration process. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to navigate over to the MRP display. So again, the MRP display is a list of suggested, and actually let me zoom in a little. It's a list of suggested things that I need to take action on from a supply chain thing. So if I have demand on an item, or maybe I have safety stock, one second. You can see here, it's going to tell me which items it's suggesting I purchase, which items it's suggesting I manufacture, and which items maybe I transfer from another warehouse. So as you come across the top of the screen here, you can see it's giving me the inventory item and the description of the item. It's giving me the source, the suggested source of this. Am I going to make it or am I going to buy it? It's giving me the warehouse that needs it and the quantity. And super critical here, it's got two dates. It's got the promise date. So the promise date is the date that you need it by so that you can meet your customer's demand. And the action date is the date that you need to take this action on to be able to fulfill this demand. You can also see in the case of purchasing preferred vendors, we'll get to that in a second, the vendor that I'm going to buy it from potentially, and also any related documents. So for example, this item right here that it's telling me to manufacture is coming from a sales order. And it's got a hyperlink here. If I needed to drill in and see the sales order, I could see what's creating the demand. Now, we've talked a little bit about, supply chain issues. Imagine having all this information in one location so that you can just, imagine if you had to kind of try to keep track of all this information. Maybe you're doing it on side spreadsheets, maybe you've got some other third-party application or something that you're trying to run it on, but having this all integrated into one system is a huge benefit, and being able to see clearly what you need to do. So we're going to take a look at an example here, and I'm going to go ahead and sort this by related document type. So you can see here, there is this reservoir inlet that the system is telling me that I need to manufacture, and it's telling me that it's a production material. So what's happening here is this reservoir inlet is actually something that is part of the bill of materials for a Keurig. We're all familiar with Keurig, not the best coffee to be honest, but sometimes it's what you got. The little K-cups, you see them in businesses, you see them in homes, but in this example, we're building a Keurig. So let's go ahead and take a look at the demand for that Keurig first. So what you're going to see is that, let's go here. So there was a sales order that was created, and I'm going to drill into the sales order. And you can see this sales order was created for this customer right here in this demo environment called Alta Ace. You can see that they placed this order on August 8th, and they need it by August 31st, and that they're ordering one of these Keurig Model 450s, a quantity of 1. So when this sales order was created and MRP was regenerated, what happened is the sales order had shown up on the list like this. It had shown up as an item that needed to be manufactured to meet that sales order demand. So I've already gone ahead and created the production order, which you can do simply by clicking on the item and picking what you're going to do. Brings up a nice interface that allows you to go ahead and create these orders. We're not going to create any now today, but just on a high level, it's quick. You can do many of these at once, one at a time, whatever you need to do to create these different orders. So coming back into Acumatica, we've got, this is a production order that is related and telling me I need to make this item because of this order. So I'm going to drill into this order, and you're going to see that this order is for the Keurig. And this production order, part of this BOM is this inlet. Now let's go ahead and take a look at, this is a multi-layer BOM, and one of the great things about MRP is it can explode through the BOM, and it can add that demand for you and calculate through what you need. So when these multi-layer BOMs, it can do that. So let's go ahead and go over to the visual BOM. And we can come and see the bill of materials for this item. We're going to go to the bill of material. And you can see here, to make this Keurig, inside of that Keurig, we need to make this inlet, which has its own BOM. So this is an example of a multi-layer BOM. So the system is suggesting that I make this item because I need it before I can finish the final item here. So that's one example of what MRP is doing, is it's looking multi-layered through the BOMs in the system. Another thing that MRP is looking at is either safety stock or reorder point. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at this food chocolate item. It's Hershey's Kisses. And you can see here the system is telling me that to meet the safety stock demand, I need to order 2,951. So you can see here that this has a promise date of August 10th, but it's telling me I needed to take action on this on 7/29. So why is it telling me that I needed to take action on this 10 days prior? Let's go ahead and drill into the item and take a look at a couple of things. So we've set up this item from a replenishment standpoint to have a safety stock number of 4,100. We want to keep this is the level that we want to keep in the system. If we go over to the vendor tab, we can see that there are multiple vendors that we can order this product from, and you can keep track of that on the stock item itself. We talked about agility. We need to be able to respond to when we can't get items from our customers, and one of the great things about this system is that I can set lead times on the vendor level, but I also, on the stock item level itself, I can put in additional lead time. So, in times of heightened trouble, if you need to come in and add that additional lead time, you don't have to mess with the normal flow of the vendor. You can come in and you can let the system know that it takes 10 days to get this right now. And that's going to help you really be able to track those action dates and those promise dates. One of the things that's really great about Acumatica is that you're looking at this and you're like, oh, I don't have someone that has time to go in and enter all this stuff in. Acumatica has great import scenarios. So if you have an Excel file where you're updating your lead times, and you can just import that right into the system. So as long as you're keeping those lead times accurate, it's going to help you have that tool you need to be flexible, agile, and keep your calculations right so that your inventory levels are staying where they need to be. And that is one of the great parts about this system. Let's go back to the MRP display. So we've talked a little bit about this MRP display. It's your planner. It's that one screen where you can see everything you need to take action on, which is great. So one thing I want to point out about this screen is that there is a regeneration process you have to run inside of Acumatica. Typically, companies will run this overnight. You could run it if you had to, but the regeneration process basically goes out. When you run it, it goes and says, okay, what's changed in the system? What purchase order promise dates have changed? What customer orders have changed? It's going out and doing that calculation of supply and demand so that you can get the information that you need to make the right decisions, to make those informed decisions, to order the right product and to get it on time. So these are suggestions of things that you need to plan. So right now it's telling me that I need to create a purchase order. It's telling me that I need to create a production order. So let's talk about maybe items that I've already created those purchase orders and production orders on, but things have changed and I need to take action. And that's the MRP Exceptions screen. Again, the MRP Exceptions screen, it's going to help you with things like telling you which orders you need to expedite or defer, either from a purchase or production standpoint. It's going to tell you which orders maybe you should cancel. Maybe the sales order that was associated with that production order got canceled. So the system's coming in and saying, hey, you don't need to do this production order anymore. Maybe it's telling you that vendor is not going to be able to get you that item in time, but what's going to happen is maybe you can transfer it from another site. So it's giving you that list of actions you can take. You can see here, this is a demo environment, so a lot of these items are old. So it's telling me, hey, go ahead and probably cancel this order because you're not going to get it there by 6 months ago. There's also an item here where it's suggesting a transfer. It's saying, hey, this transfer order is going to be late. You can see towards the bottom, it'll also warn you on things like if an order's on hold, it's like, hey, maybe you forgot to take this order off hold. You might want to consider looking at that. Did you mean to do that? Because that's going to have a material effect on the demand in the system and your MRP. And you can see the list of things that might show you in here: defer, delete, expedite. So this is a great way it's kind of that little reminder in the system. It's kind of like, when you're a kid and your mom was like, hey, you forgot to do your homework. This is kind of that list for you. It does the work for you. So next, let's talk about MRP preferences. I don't want to go too deep into this, but I do just want to point out that inside of the system, there are lots of different settings in terms of grace periods, time fences, and days before and after for exceptions that allow you when things are loosening or tightening, you can come into the system on a global level and change some of the date ranges to be more flexible. That way you don't have to go to every single item and update those date ranges, and it'll take into account what those screens are looking at when it comes to exceptions. We talked a little bit about demand so far. We've only showed a sales order. There are two other pieces of demand that you can generate through MRP. One is your forecast. So obviously your forecast is your company's prediction of what you're going to sell. And if you were waiting just for customer orders to come in before you did calculations for MRP, that would be too late. You do have to do some of your own guesswork into the system to help meet those things. So you can create forecasts where you can go out and specify, I think I'm going to sell 10 of these items this month, maybe 20 next month. And MRP, when it runs, will consider that as part of demand and will make suggestions on you to produce those. And the great thing about this is that you can have actual sales orders consume this. So if I said I was going to create 10 Keurigs in a month and an order came in for 2, it would come consume that down to 8. It's not going to be, okay, now you need 12. It's kind of trying to stay in equilibrium with you until you've consumed the entire forecast. So a forecast is what you think you're going to sell. The other thing is a master production schedule. A master production schedule is it's a proposed build schedule. So if you need to come in the system and say, I'm going to make these items, this is another thing that you can use to drive demand in your system. And it'll go out just like we showed with that inlet. It knows, okay, if I need to make 10 of an item this month, what items do I need to purchase, what items do I need to produce or potentially transfer to make those orders happen. So let's see. So now you've seen what the product can do. Let's go in and review some of the benefits of these features. Pardon me, I had to pause for a second. Let's switch back. All right, so you've seen what an MRP solution can do for your operations. If you're at this point and you're interested, we just want to point out that this is complex. You don't have to do it alone. There are partners out there like Lucid that can help you through this process. If you're interested, we can guide you through and support you and train you and help your team get these systems up and running so you can focus on the results. Let's recap what we just saw in that presentation. So the first thing is, one of the benefits is receiving direct visibility. Imagine having that MRP display and having it, up to date and real information that you can trust and rely on to make sure that you know what you need to take action on. Think about just all the potential chaos and things you might have been able to avoid, maybe times where you miss things, if you had that information that was reliable in your systems. And that's what Acumatica does. It gives you real visibility into your inventory across the board, your inventory levels, your demand, your replenishment levels, so that you can make informed decisions. And it even gives you those follow-ups. It says, hey, you made a mistake here. This isn't going to work through the exception screen. So it's giving you that visibility into what needs to happen. Next, Acumatica is going to help you respond to marketplace changes. We all know that market can change rapidly, and one of the important things is that you're managing your inventory levels. You're going to be more flexible, more agile if you're not sitting on a ton of inventory as the market changes. So making sure that you have a system in place where you're not relying on your gut, but you're relying on actual math and data to create these suggestions to get your inventory levels is extremely important. And having those lead times, having those safety stock levels, having that visibility to demand will help you be agile to respond to marketplace changes. You saw in the system the ability to show promise and action dates. You saw the ability to get warnings if you need to expedite things. It's really important that you're able to respond to your customers' demand. And there's pressure throughout this entire supply chain right now. So I think it's critical that you have a tool in place to make those informed decisions. And Acumatica can help you respond to your customers' demands with confidence. You'll have a better understanding of, can I really do this, versus going off your gut. And Acumatica can help you reach your full potential by becoming more efficient and reducing your costs. Today we're just focusing on material. MRP is just material, but there's many more modules included in the Acumatica Manufacturing, including advanced planning and scheduling, bill of materials, the ability to create work centers and machines. If a part doesn't come in, it doesn't just affect that order, but now you've got that machine and that equipment and that labor that you've got to try to quickly pivot. So the more accurate you can be in making sure you have what you need to run your production, it's going to affect your entire ability to manufacture and be efficient and save money. So really important that you're using this tool that's out there for you, can help you really reach your full potential. So you've seen the benefits now. We've talked about it. Talked a little bit about how it works. It's really complex, right? This is not necessarily simple stuff. We've done many of these implementations, and we're here to help you. We're here to help you get through this. So if you're interested in this stuff, don't be overwhelmed. Just know that there are partners out there like Lucid that are here to help and get you through this if you want to know more. So this is a quote from one of Acumatica's customers. You'll see here, one of the great things about Acumatica is there's a single source of truth. If you've got a company that's maybe running on spreadsheets or running on third-party applications, things like that, you're constantly trying to evaluate what's real and what's not. And in Acumatica, having your full system integrated from CRM to finance, through sales order to cash, the whole thing, it allows you to know that what you're looking at is accurate and allows you to respond quicker and be better. And we are currently in the process of implementing MRP at a manufacturing facility, and a big takeaway for them is how much they wish they'd had this in the past. how many better decisions could they have made? How much time could they have saved? They've seen some of the screens, they've run around and run into those challenges. And having that information, really, they can already see before we've even gone live the way this is going to help them be the best they can be. So, choosing an MRP or an ERP system is a big decision that can affect your organization for many years. I know personally I've been there. For everyone attending today, what we're going to do is we're going to provide you with a checklist to help you evaluate that. It's a checklist that Acumatica has put together, and it looks at 5 categories. It looks at productivity, functionality, technology, value, and risk. And it goes into those sections, and it lists out particular things, and it allows you to compare Acumatica and the features that it offers versus other potential solutions, because this is a big decision. And obviously, when people are evaluating systems, they don't just look at one. So we want to give you the tools to help you understand what needs to happen. And we understand that change is hard. These systems are complex, but again, we're here to walk alongside you. We know that it's not just about the processes, but it's about the people. And that's something that's really important to Lucid, is helping walk your staff through these changes. There's going to be a lot of insecurity when you're changing systems. People are relearning their jobs. And so it's not just as much about the technology and the calculations and the features, but it's also about the people. And that's something that's really important to us at Lucid, that we can come alongside your people and help them be successful. One of the items I wanted to point out in the PDF you'll be getting today is, under the risk section, they list out that Acumatica is in the cloud. And I think that there's tremendous value in that, because there's been a lot of cybersecurity issues recently, ransom, things like that. And one of the benefits of having Acumatica in the cloud is that you can absolutely, they have an impeccable track record with cybersecurity, and you can trust that they're the ones that are protecting your data, keeping your operations going. A ransomware incident can slow you way down, cost you lots of money. So that's just one of the things that is in the PDF that can help you evaluate this. I also want to point out that, like I said, there's multiple manufacturing modules inside the system, other things that you can use to be successful. So definitely reach out if you have more questions. We would love to help you on this journey. You can reach out to us at info@lucidconsulting.com. We'll get back to you. Let me see if anyone had any questions. I do not see any questions. So again, yeah, thank you for joining today. We'd love to have a conversation with you and continue on this journey and help you be the best manufacturer you can be. Again, this is Brian, and thank you for attending.